Now, the roads will be busy across South Africa, of course, as holidaymakers begin making their way to their respective destinations for the festive holidays. I mean, tomorrow is December the 16th, is a public holiday here, being Reconciliation Day, and many people now beginning to pack up to go and have some fun. But our reporters as well out and about in the field to bring us the latest in terms of how traffic and road safety programs are going. Let's check in now with Monique Motlock, who is in Cape Town, and also I'll speak to my colleague, fellow eNCA there, and reporter. She's out and about Masigo Rahlaga at the Carousel Plaza in Pretoria. Ladies, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining us. Let's start with you, Masigo. You've been following the exodus from Johannesburg. How are things looking?
Well, Bradan, it is quite busy already in Johannesburg, and I mean, I've been told by the taxi drivers that I was speaking to earlier today at the wondrous taxi rank in the city of Johannesburg that we haven't seen anything yet, because there are people who are at work today, for instance, Bradan, and are actually only starting to go home from tomorrow. They're expecting that they would have more commuters, way more than today. I mean, my colleague Mukhumuti Stuki and I were there by around 6:30, and it was already such a buzz. So, you know, the taxi drivers telling us that the 16th of December is actually the day when they travel to many parts of the continent and many parts of the country. But in terms of Zimbabwe, Bradan, that was what I found most interesting. The wondrous taxi rank is a rank that actually goes to many of the SADC countries such as Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Swaziland and Botswana as well. And I noticed that the queue to Zimbabwe was a little different this time around. Usually at the end of the year, we find the queue to taxis that travel to Zimbabwe being very long from early on. But today in particular, it wasn't busy at all. And when we asked why, it's because of that travel ban, Bradan. You might remember about a week or so ago, the government of Zimbabwe decided to impose a travel ban for ordinary travelers from South Africa to Zimbabwe. Obviously, this was in reaction to the discovery of the Omicron variant, the COVID-19 Omicron variant. So when you get there, you have to, for instance, quarantine for 10 days at your expense. So people are avoiding going to Zimbabwe at the moment to try and mitigate that. Their finances also, because of COVID, Bradan, have been affected. So, but here is the leader of Santako at that particular taxi rank that I spoke to earlier on today, talking about the difficulty for both passengers and taxi drivers every time they travel to Zimbabwe.
Most of them, they are closed. Zimbabwean says there are no borders opening, but the people, they need to go home. They are crying too much to us. So we need the borders to open, and the government must be aware of that the people, they need to go back to their homes.
Monique, let's bring you in now from your side of the country, down in the Cape there. How are things?
We've been visiting different long-distance bus terminals across Cape Town. A little earlier today, we were in Paarl at Mbukweni, where the bus operations on the B97 route have been suspended due to taxi violence that flared up a little earlier this year. And those operations are still suspended, and because of this, that taxi rank is completely quiet. The taxi drivers there were telling us that this has made it difficult for them to see which taxis need sanitizing products, which taxis they can clean before they embark on their long journeys, because many taxis were unable to or are unable to operate from that taxi rank. Where I am right now, a different story, quite busy. I'm going to ask my colleague Mario Pedro to show you. We are in Bellville at the Intercape bus terminal, where we've been seeing a steady stream of buses picking people up, dropping people off, and this has been a constant flow. So we can already see what we heard from the city of Cape Town this morning, that people are already making their way on holiday or coming to the Cape for holiday. But from what we've heard from the City of Cape Town Traffic Chief Richard Coleman earlier this morning, he said that they are seeing that the roads leading out of the city are busier than the ones or than the traffic coming into the city. And we saw this when we were at the Huguenot Tunnel as well a little earlier. just so many cars and long-distance vehicles, people that you can see have their bags packed or suitcases in their vehicles, bicycles strapped to their vehicles, heading to different parts of the province. So it seems as if things are picking up, although it's a bit quiet at some of the taxi ranks, some of the bus terminals that we've been to. Not this one though, this one is still quite busy. Johannesburg bus terminal, one of the biggest long-distance bus terminals here in Cape Town, expected to pick up a little later this evening.
Okay, Monique, we'll continue our discussion now. Please stay connected. I just want to ask Masigo, because she was at a roadblock a little bit earlier, Masigo, just about the safety measures that have been put in place. What did you see, Masigo?
So, Bredan, we moved from the wondrous taxi rank in Johannesburg to about an hour and a half away in Pretoria, in the city of Tshwane. And this is the Carousel Toll Plaza. Bredan, as you can see, not the type of traffic that you'd expect just yet. Obviously, a little bit more than usual, a little bit more than any other day besides December. But definitely, we'll pick up, according to what we're hearing from authorities. It's expected to pick up during the course of the day. This is the national road, the N1, going to Limpopo, for instance, from Pretoria. And this is one of our busiest roads. But I did ask Tate Isaac Mahamba, the TMPD spokesperson, to just wait for me just very quickly. They've recently packed up. Are we seeing, obviously I can see that there is a bit more traffic. Should we expect that from this evening, because people are knocking off and they're starting their holidays, should we expect that this traffic will be more?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers. Yes, definitely the traffic, we are expecting it to increase. And now at the toll gate just before this one, Pumlani one, we are counting about 500 to 600 vehicles passing per hour. Definitely it will reach a stage in the afternoon where it will go about 2,000, 2,500. That's normally during this peak. That's what is happening. Most of the people now, some they are still at work, some they are still packing from home and all the stuff. But in the afternoon, guaranteed, definitely it will increase. And as I indicated, if you see the Pumlani one just before this one, it has more vehicles than this one. So it will increase. But as TMPD, we are ready. We have deployed our members in all these main roads just to make sure that they assist. We'll do stop and searches, we'll do roadblocks. Specifically, we are targeting your roadworthiness of the vehicles and fitness to drivers. So we are all over making sure, again, to say everybody should adhere to road traffic rules, and we'll be here until we are satisfied that all the traffic has moved towards Limpopo. As you know, some are coming from Joburg and they'll go through Tshwane, but I'm saying as TMPD, we are ready.
Thank you very much. Well, there you have it, Bredan. That was Isaac Mahamba, the TMPD spokesperson. About 600 vehicles per hour, 2.5 probably from this evening. People coming from areas such as Johannesburg, Pretoria, going to areas such as Limpopo, Mpumalanga, you name it. So the festive season really has started.
Yeah, 2,500 vehicles is anticipated per hour. That's a lot of cars on the road. Monique, on your side of town there in the Cape, what are the city officials saying about their road safety plans?
Dan, they are saying that COVID-19 hasn't changed anything. They are out in full force on the roads, not only from today onward, but from the start of this week. City of Cape Town officials, and not only City of Cape Town officials, but Western Cape traffic officials also working with their Eastern Cape and Northern Cape counterparts to ensure safer roads. Because we must remember the role of traffic officers to ensure that there are as few fatalities and accidents as possible. It fits in with what the healthcare workers are doing, and what we heard from healthcare workers yesterday, saying that they can't afford to be overburdened in emergency centres because they need to obviously spread themselves thin. Us being in the midst of a fourth wave, they need to ensure that there are enough beds available for those who really need it. So where possible, healthcare workers and traffic officials asking people to be cautious, to not drink and drive, no reckless driving, especially when it comes to long distance bus and taxi drivers, for them to be especially cautious. And the City of Cape Town's traffic chief told us that this time around there's a no-nonsense approach. approach, as there is every year, but because the health system can't afford to be overburdened, they are doing everything they can to ensure that the roads are safer. Let's take a listen to Traffic Chief Richard Coleman.
Our safety operations hasn't changed much. We are still having our operation that started on Monday, which is Operation Exodus, where we concentrate on the public transport. And this is an important thing on our roads, especially this time of the year. So we do have our public transport that can then go into our testing centres at Joe Garvey, where they can have their voluntary vehicle tests done.
And lastly, sir, what would your message be to motorists out there, and especially those long-distance taxi drivers, long-distance bus drivers?
Yes, especially to our long-distance taxi drivers and bus drivers. We do ask them to be cautious on the road. And to our motorists that are leaving, going on holiday, it's rather to get there safe than not to get there at all. So we ask them, keep to the speed limits, keep your safe following distances, and then especially your safety belts, especially for the children in the car, to have their safety belts on. So we ask most of them to keep to the rules of the road and get there safe.
Okay, some views there from Cape Town City official there on road safety ahead of this holiday season. Thank you very much, Monique Motlock, and also Masigo Rahlaga. She's out on the N1 North. The vehicle is now picking up. Currently, they are seeing about 600 every hour going through some of those toll gates there north of Tshwane. They are anticipating 2,500 by later this afternoon. Please be safe on the roads.